mato umanaim shebetahim gam yahad. Hine mato umanaim shebetahim gam yahad. Hine mato umanaim shebetahim gam yahad. Hine mato
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. It is wonderful to see you. We have many things happening in our congregation this evening with Shabbat and lots of things happening sort of around the area, but we are glad to have you here with us this evening. Shabbat Shalom. We say Shabbat Shalom. We want to turn to the cameras that are behind us. You can say Shabbat Shalom to the people who are at home or in hospital rooms or wherever they are around the world. And also that in front of us is walking in right now. Odd time to walk into the building. And we also take a moment to say Shabbat Shalom to each other, right? Like to recognize that it's an awesome opportunity just to be here. So turn around to the north, the south, the east, the west, and welcome one another here in our congregation. We say that in our Jewish tradition that everything is connected. That everything is connected to Echad, to the one. And because everything is connected, because everything follows on the heels of something else, because every action has consequences beyond anything that we will ever know, because of all of this, the Torah teaches us this week to pay attention, to be mindful of the journey that we're on, and to walk with awe, with just a sense of awe of what's around us. To pay attention, to be mindful of the journey that we're on, and to walk with awe. From evening to morning in times of challenge and blessing, we as Jews have tried to do this. We've tried to pay attention. We've tried to be mindful. And we've tried to walk with a sense of awe. We raise up God's light. We try to cultivate a wise heart. We weave together God's Spirit into our lives through treasuring our relationships. And tonight, as we light the Shabbat candles, as we think about how we are paying attention and being mindful of the path and walking in awe, I want to invite you to remember that part of lighting the Shabbat candles, part of bringing light into the world, is a recognition that we are the ones who God has been searching for to bring light into the world. It's not just that we are searching for God, but God is searching for us too, to do that work of bringing light into the world. So we begin with lighting Shabbat candles.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lechad likneh, Shel Shabbat.
And we sanctify Shabbat with the words of Kiddush. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh v'reshit, ki hu yom techila lemikrahe kodesh, zecher letziyat mitzrayim, kivanu v'charta beotanu kidashta mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava uvratzon hinachaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat. Amen. L'chaim. This week, my youngest 6-year-old turned 7. And it was awesome. We had a puppy birthday party. We invited friends who had dogs. And so we had our house full of puppies. It was a dream. All right, it was a dream. It was great. And also it was the first week of school in our house. And it was a wonderful thing to be able to, really recognize that the summer was over and go back to school. Wonderful things. We want to share, blessings and wonderful things that are happening in our lives. Do I need a microphone? Yes, please. Okay, please. You're welcome. Yes. Worse. There we go. Okay, great. We want to recognize all of the wonderful things that are happening in people's lives, the gifts, the good things that we want to just lift up and celebrate and elevate, and to recognize that we just need more blessings and goodness in this world. So those were 2 of mine this week. What are some of yours? Yes. You retired. Way to go. Congratulations. That is huge. Mazel tov. Jean, did you have something?
Yay.
That is awesome. I'm sorry, say that again. You started choir for the holidays. Yay, thank you. I know. I went in to go say thank you to the choir, partially because I wanted to say thank you to the choir, but partially just to hear the sounds of the high holidays emerging. And it did cause a little heart palpitation too, in terms of the sermons that are not written. But thank you very much. Thank you very much for that. All right, so other blessings and wonderful things. Yeah. You're able to be present and available for a friend who needed you. Thank you. And also, what a wonderful blessing it is to be able to do that too. That's wonderful. Other blessings and other things. Yes, sorry. I'm sorry. I did not mean to just randomly point at you. Anyone else? Great. Whether it's being there for a friend, or it is retiring, or starting the choir, or birthdays, whatever it might be, we have lots to celebrate. And we thank God not only for giving us life, but for sustaining our lives, to help us reach joyous occasions.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehecheanu v'kimanu v'hegianu lazman hazeh.
We pay attention, we are mindful of that path, we walk with a sense of awe because we're connected to each other, because we're connected to the world around us, because what we do when it's showing up for a friend, or when it's celebrating, or when it's helping people mourn, what we do matters and makes a difference. So if we choose to be of service and to do the work of our hearts, we can offer the blessings of our souls, blessings of love. I want to invite you to rise with the words of Baruch words of Lachadodi. You can be seated if you want, apparently. Apparently, I don't know where I am in the service. You can be seated. We'll rise in a moment for the words of Baruch.
Lecha dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat mikabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat mikabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad hishmi'anu el hamiuchad Adonai echad u'shemo echad L'shem u'tiferet v'letila lecha dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat Nikabela lecha dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat Nikabela likrat Shabbat lechu v'nechad ki mikor haberacha merosh mikadem nesucha Sof ma'aseh b'machshavati la lecha dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nikabela lecha dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nikabela Toreri kiva orech uri shideri kivod Adonai alayich niga lecha dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nikabela lecha dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nikabela. Ohi v'shalom ateret bala gam v'simcha u'b'tzola toch emuneh am segula Boi kala mekabelav.
Yalla
Lai, lai, lai. Yalla, 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 lai, lai, lai. Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared?
Morechu et Adonai
HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Yalai, lai, lai. Yalla, lai, 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 lai, lai. We read together, Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, b'chochma poteach she'arim, uvitvuna mishane itim, umachalif et hazmanim, umisader et hakochavim, b'mishmerotehem berakia kirtzono. Borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or. Uma'avin yom uvein layla, umavdil ben yom uvein layla, Adonai tzivaot shemo. El chai v'kayam, tamid yimloch aleinu leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv aravim. Alan Marinis teaches that when we give repetitively, that those acts of giving leave a trace on our inner lives. That giving makes us more charitable, that giving makes us more merciful, that giving makes us more loving. He says love flows in the direction of giving. Each gift of our time and energy shows our trace of love. We love, we give, and we love some more. And out of that love, we build the structures of our innermost tabernacle, our inner souls. And that helps us to create a world, an ahavat olam, a world of love.
Ahavat olam Beit Yisrael Am lecha Am Torah u'mitzvot Mishpati Otanu lemadeta Otanu lemadeta Hakein Adonai Eloheinu v'shokbeinu Uvkumeinu nasiach bechukecha V'nismach b'divrei Toratecha u'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed. Ki hem chayei Melech Yameinu Bahem Nege Yomam V'Layla Nege Yomam V'Layla Atasi Mimenu Le'olamim Baruch Atah Adonai Ohev Amo Yisrael Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol me'odecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha V'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta ba'am v'shivtecha b'veitecha uv'lechtecha b'derech uv'shofecha uv'kumecha uv'shartam le'ot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha uv'ktavtam Al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha leman tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'hitem kedoshim lelohechem Ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim Liot lachem le'Elohim Ani Adonai Elohechem. For thousands of years, men and women with names just like ours have been attached, have been connected, have been linked to the story of Exodus. Thomas Jefferson and Benjamin Franklin designed the Great Seal of the United States with images of the Exodus, and during the civil rights movement in the United States, men and women sang about it. Century after century, the Exodus has inspired people just like us to break the chains of the past and to build tomorrow upon the foundations of liberty and love and equality and freedom, a sense of possibility and opportunity. And the question is whether or not the Exodus which happened a long time ago, whether that enduring narrative still matters today. Because each generation has had to ask, are we the ancestors that future generations need us to be? Are we the ancestors that future generations need us to be? And so it's with great hope, determination, that our names too would be among those who choose to see a better place, a promised land, to have the chutzpah, we call it audacity, to walk towards that vision together, hand in hand, marching towards tomorrow.
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha ראו בניך וכהים לפני משה מרים
זה לי,
ענו ואמרו אדוני
ימלוך
לעולם ועד
אדוני
ימלוך
ימלוך
לעולם
לעולם ועד.
ונאמר כי פדה אדוני יעקב ויעלו מי חזק ממנו ברוך אתה אדוני גל ישראל.
To lishmor, to guard, is about what matters most to us. And our tradition says that as much as the Jewish people have kept Shabbat, Shabbat has kept the Jewish people. As much as we have guarded Shabbat, Shabbat has helped to guard us. We continue with the words of Veshamru.
Compassion and trust. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom V'hamidenu shoreinu l'chaim.
Save us
For the sake of your name, shield us from hatred, sorrow, and pain. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom V'hamidenu shoreinu l'chaim.
We continue with the words now of Veshamru.
Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et hashavat la'asot et hashavat lidorotam beridolam v'nihu b'nei Yisrael oti le'olam v'nihu b'nei Yisrael oti le'olam Vishamru
B'nei Yisrael et hashavat la'asot et hashavat lidorotam beridolam
כי ששגמים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. כי ששגמים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ.
Shamru B'nei Yisrael et hashavat la'asot et hashavat lidorotam beridolam
וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש, שבת ויהי נפש, ביום
השביעי שבת ויהי נפש, שבת ויהי נפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. We rise now for the words of the Amidah. Yada die die die, 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 yada die die die. Adonai, Tiftai Tiftach, Ufi Yagid Tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Ve'koneh Hakol, V'zocher chastei avot v'imaot, u'me'evi gula livnei v'neihem, lema'an shemo be'ahava, melech ozera u'moshia u'magen, baruch atah Adonai, magen Avraham ve'ezrat Sarah. Atah gibor leolam Adonai, mechayeh hakol, atah rav leoshia, morid hatal, mechakel chayim bechesed, mechayeh hakol berachamim rabim, somech noflim verofech cholim, Umatir asurim, umekayem emunato, lishenei ahafa, michamocha ba'al gevurot, umido melech, melech mimit, umechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman atah lechayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, mechayeh hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'chdoshim b'chol yom yahalu chasela, Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. I want to invite you to be seated. You may have noticed that we don't have prayer books in our sanctuary right now because we're having them cleaned. So, which sounds kind of crazy, but that's actually what's happening. So we're using just the screens, and so for the Amidah tonight, I want to invite you to place your feet onto the ground. And I want to invite you to sit up straight as you can, and to close your eyes or lower your gaze, to take a deep breath, to focus on your breathing, to notice your breath flowing in and out.
Shabbat is about this sacred rhythm of our lives. It's about this very breath we take to inhale. And Shabbat is about that exhale. With each breath, we restore our souls. May the gift of rest on this Shabbat bless us with awareness. Awareness of the presence of the Holy One in our lives, of that divine spark that's in our souls. And as we sit in silence tonight, we pray with the words of our hearts. We pray for shalom, for peace. We continue in silence.
Shalom Raha al Yisroel Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Raha al Yisroel Amcha Tasim Leolam. Hi atahu melech Adon Lechol HaShalom. Hi atahu melech Adon Lechol HaShalom. Shalom Raha al Yisroel Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Raha al Yisroel Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov be'einecha livorech et Amcha Yisroel b'chol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Raha al Yisroel Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Raha al Yisroel Amcha Tasim Leolam. Baruch atah Adonai Hamevarech et Amo Yisroel Bashalom.
One of the things that I was talking to Patty about before services was just the recognition of how many people are hurting right now, are in pain, living with sorrow. We've lived, all of us, for 2.5 years with a trauma. Sometimes it was a capital T trauma, and sometimes it's a lower T trauma. And there have been people who are living with mental health illnesses and physical illnesses and diagnoses that have been really difficult. And so in our community, we take time each and every time we gather to think of the people in our community who are in need of healing. Healing of mind and body and spirit and soul. Their names of our members of our community are being shown on the screen, but I also want to invite us to say the names of people that we're thinking about, either out loud or silently in our hearts. So as my eyes go around the room, I invite you to speak out loud or silently in your heart to share the name of someone you're thinking about this evening. Thank you. Baruch atah Adonai, Rofeh Hecholim. Blessed are you, O God, who walks with, who comforts, who supports all who are in need. The Torah teaches us that when the tabernacle was built, that the numbers in the Torah, the numbers of the height and the width of the walls of everything around it, around the tabernacle, everything was built with whole numbers. But then, when we get the instructions for the ark, for where we are supposed to keep the commandments and the Torah and the teachings, all of those numbers are in half numbers, like 2.5 cubits. Not 4 cubits or 6 cubits, but 2.5. And I really don't know what a biblical sized cubit would look like, to be honest with you. And I'm not good at building things.
But it leads to a rabbinic question, which is, what does that teach us? What does it teach us that the ark where the sacred covenant is kept, the ark where the most holy of holy spaces is kept, that it's actually built out of incomplete numbers, not whole numbers like the walls around it. And our rabbis tell us that it's supposed to teach us that all of us are incomplete. All of us are not yet whole. That each of us has learning to do, growth to do, pain that we've experienced. And it's not just us as individuals, but it's also our community. That our community itself is not yet whole, not yet complete. And it's not just our community, but it is also our city, and our state, and our country, and our world. And the question for us is, how do we grow? How do we make it complete? And I have an unfortunate answer for you. It's not going to be possible. You can't entirely. That makes AJ really upset. When I say you can't do something, AJ's like, I'm going to find a way. Well, you can't do it by yourself. But it does start with yourself. And our Jewish teachings tell us that the way that we make our community more whole is we start with that inner work ourselves about what do we need to do to make our lives more whole and complete. And when we do that, it has a way of connecting to others and those that we love, and then to our community and to our city and our world and beyond. So I want to suggest that, and what I love about our ark is that it is sort of follows this, Rabbi, right? It is not, there are no whole numbers in that ark, right? But that is a recognition that each of us has growth to do. And what Shabbat is about taking that time, taking that moment, taking that breath to just, not just to see what is incomplete, but to see how we can be more whole with ourselves and to build relationships of love that matter and impact others. We all hope for a world made more whole. And that's what our prayer of Aleinu L'Shabeach asks for. A world made more whole. That doesn't start with great off powers. It doesn't start with some politician or leader. But it starts with each one of us. We rise with the words of Aleinu L'Shabeach. Aleinu L'Shabeach La'adon HaKol Lateit Gedula Le'otzeh Breshit Shelo Asanu Kegoi Ha'aratzot Ve'lo Samanu Kamishvachot Ha'adama Shelo Samcho Kenu Kahem Ve'gor Aleinu Kechol Ha'amona Va'anachnu korim umishtachavim umodim lifnei melech macher hamachim hakadosh baruch hu v'nehemar v'haya Adonai l'melech al kol haaretz bayom Bayom ha'u
be seated. Hannah Senesh, a Jewish poet during World War II, wrote that there are stars whose radiance is visible on earth, though they have long been extinct. And that there are people whose brilliance continues to light the world, though they are no longer among the living. These lights are particularly bright when the night is dark, and the light that they light the way for all of us. And so we think of those who recently died. We think of those who died at this season in years past and those whom we have drawn into our hearts as our own. We remember the light of their smile, the sparkle of their laughter, the glimmer of their gifts. And we thank God for all the stars in the heavens and the memories of all of whom we love. It's our tradition in our congregation to stand as the name of your loved one is read. And we're in a period of Shloshim, the first 30 days, for Herbert Corday, for Harriet Hirschman, Andrew Karp, Rabbi Stanley Skolnick, B. Melvin Swire, and Scott Turner, who we laid to rest today, the husband of Sadie Turner, and son of Lori and Barry Turner, and brother of Evan and Brittany. We mark with sympathy and sadness the yahrzeits, the anniversaries of the deaths of Peggy Nathan Abrams, Martin Beal, Max Burney, Sophie Cohen, Ruth Cooper, Elsie Korn, Anna DiPolito, Herbie Dworkin, Lenny Bell Ergel, Mildred Ellenson, Barry Fernbach, Edward Festinger, George Foster, Larry Galinkin, Anne Elizabeth Gerson, William Gitlin, Richard Stanley Glazer, Leslie Gordon, Edith Green, Harry Greenberg, Molly Grundman, Jose Guillermo Guadarrama, Clara Hickman, Billy R. Hendrickson, Isaac Jacobowitz, Edwin L. Kahn, Samuel Kaplan, Leda Kaufman, Louis Kirshner, Maurice Krauss, Philip Levine, Jean Levy, Donald Margulis, Zane Messinger, Elizabeth Lib Miles, Ralph Neufeld, Monroe Newell, Dorothy Nathan Palevsky, David Paskoff, David Pychart, Louis I. Pesikoff, Goldie R. Phillips, Susan E. Popper, Richard Pyshur, Benjamin Reichek, John Kennerly Rowe, Irving Sadow, Alan Schneiderman, Joe Chalant, Annie Siegel, Gerald Cinco, Adele Solo, Ida Solo, Yusuf Suud, Marusha El Suud, Goldie Steinberg, Edith Suckman, and J. Sandra Thacker. Are there any other names that we need to add for this week? We stand as one congregational family, thinking of all the names that were read, as well as those who died in the Shoah, the Holocaust, our American servicemen and women and first responders, and those who died defending the state of Israel. Zichronam livracha. May their memories be for a blessing as we read the words of Kaddish Yatom, the mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal vayitkadash shemei rabbah, be'alma divra chirutei v'amlich malchutei, b'chayechon uvyomechon uvchaye dechol Beit Yisrael, b'agala uv'yisman kariv v'imru. Amen.
Yehi Shemei Rabba Mevarach Leolam Olamei Olamaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yithaleh v'yithalal shemed kudasha barichu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiram be'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav Hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru. Amen.
Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru.
Amen. We stay standing. Just a few hoda'ot, a few announcements. It is now the time to register for High Holy Days. I don't want to say that out loud, but it is now the time to register for High Holy Days. When we ask you to register for High Holy Days to help us plan for parking and for just for all the entrance and egress and all the things that we have to do, but we have an incredible lineup of things happening for High Holidays in the month of Elul, in the month leading up to the High Holidays, through the High Holidays, all the way to Simchat Torah. Check it out. Take a look, both in the packets that were sent home. There's some that are printed out in the front, and there's a lot of things that are online. But check it out and participate and find a way to find your journey through this High Holiday season of reflection and renewal. We also, there are, I think, just a few spots left in Wild Acres. So if you were like, you're the person who's waiting till the last minute to sign up for Wild Acres, this is the last minute. Actually, I think that we closed registration today, but there's probably a couple more spaces if you did want to call and check in about the availability. And so we invite you to join us for Wild Acres on Labor Day weekend, a wonderful retreat opportunity for our congregation. And this Sunday is a new member welcome opportunity, welcoming all new members to our congregation. I think we have 50-something people coming who are new members in our congregation. So we want to invite you. If you are a new member, if you hadn't heard about it, that would be surprising to me. But if you haven't heard about it, you should come. And if you're thinking that you want to invite people just to become members, that's a good time they can come to and join us. We have lots of people joining our community, and we want to end this Shabbat evening service with Olam Chesed Yibaneh, that we shall build this world with love.
Olam Chesed Yibaneh,
Yalalai, yalalai, yalalai. Olam Chesed Yibaneh, yalalai, yalalai, yalalai. Olam Chesed Yibaneh, yadadai, yadai, yadadai. Olam Chesed Yibaneh, yalalai, yalalai, yalalai.
I will build
This world from love, yadadai, yadai, yadadai. Build this world from love. Yadadai, yadai, yadadai. And if we build this world from love, yadadai, yadai, yadadai, then God will build this world from love. Yadadai, yadai, yadadai. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Oh, sorry for being all over the place. What happened to my microphone? Did you see it? Okay. Yeah, me too. I know that. Hey, Rabbi.
He probably wasn't projecting on the streaming.
Yeah, it is probably.
In a whole week. That's a really long time for us. Not now.
was awesome. Lots of shots.
It really was.
Yeah, totally. Now I'm like, I can go get lunch. Completely, I know.
All right,
All right,
thanks.
thank
It
you.
was a good seminar, huh? I thought a lot about it. I've used, yeah. Well, you didn't even have a
No, I completely agree with you.
I was like, oh
I think what he, I think what I was like, no, I think this part is inevitable. Is inevitable.
right, yeah.
That's inevitable.
Right.
Not
so I
clear.
feel like perhaps you like don't go to, like all the arguments. I guess like core values and things. But if you want to practice, we can.
No, I thought it was
I
very.
thought
that was
it
very-
gave us a lot.
That was really good.
Amen.